Oh, sorry. Good evening. My name's Amanda. This is my week 7 check-in, and I'm going to do the mandated reporting part, but first oh, sorry, gross, food in my hair. I'm talking about my internship. I wrapped things up a few days ago, and so that's nice. I really enjoyed the experience, but I'm kind of glad the internship's done, so that's good. We were supposed to explore like different laws that we have in our state for mandated reporting, as well as I watched the video. One of the laws in Indiana, which it's not nationwide necessarily, but is that everyone is a mandated reporter, not just teachers, social workers, doctors, people like that. Everyone who is a citizen is a mandated reporter. This was interesting. I already knew that just because I worked in foster care in Indiana for the past few years. But back home in Illinois, where I'm originally from, not every citizen is a mandated reporter. So moving to Indiana, I did learn that, and through reading different reports and like reasoning behind it, it makes a lot of sense. I yeah, I think it is important that every citizen is a mandated reporter. I know that's not the same in every state, but I think it makes a lot of sense that if you're at a park or something, and if you're a mother, maybe not a social worker or a teacher, but you see some like neglect or abuse, that you would call into the hotline and do that. I think that is good to have, rather than say, well, I really have no say because I'm not a professional. So I really appreciate that Indiana has that law that everyone is a mandated reporter. That's something we push really hard in foster care, is that like foster parents are mandated reporters, even if they don't want to report things the kids have heard themselves. A lot of times we'll have our foster parents call into the hotlines themselves to report it, and if they don't, then we will. So I learned that, and just random different rules and regulations in Indiana, which were interesting to me. I know that our agency, I mean, for the most part, we're obviously mandated reporters, but it's situation by situation. But normally, if at all we feel like there's any abuse or neglect, we call into the hotline and let them vet out if that is actually abuse or neglect. And many times, if you bring up a situation to the supervisor, he will tell you if he thinks you need to report it and you weren't planning on reporting it. So that is good that he does that. And normally, it's always better, my supervisor always said, it's always better to be safe and report something rather than to not report something. So I try to just, if I think that it's something that needs reported, I'll report it. And if I have any questions about if I need to report it, but I'm not sure, I talk to my supervisor. So that is a guideline we have at work. Um, yeah, um, yeah, if I'm not unsure of making a report, I talk to my supervisor. But if somebody reports to me that a child they know has been abused or neglected, I will call it in. And if a child tells me that as well, I will do the same. I think the biggest challenge in reporting child abuse and neglect is knowing how much detail to say and what to remember for me, because if they're really fast to tell you details and you ask them to list out in more details, I don't like the idea of causing more trauma, but I understand that I need to report it. And I know that they ask a lot of details on the phone, so that's really hard for me though to like remember everything. So a lot of times I write it down and make sure to have everything accurate and run it through with the individual before I report it. There's nothing that really holds me back necessarily from reporting. I know some people, if they have relationships with their home-based clients or things like that, it's hard for them to decide to report them if they are needing reported. But in my mind, I try to always put the kids first, or the client first. So that's not something I really struggle with. Yeah, so that is my video on mandated reporting. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening.